Hello, good evening, and welcome back. In case this news passed you by, UK National Health Service, or NHS, to deny treatment to racists and sexists. Now, for anyone who's been watching me for a while will know that I'm against socialised healthcare for a plethora of reasons, not least because the government always does things slower and less efficiently. But there is an example of something like this, which is to say when the government has full control over the country and also, of course, includes in that the ability to decide whether you are medically treated or not, that your healthcare is in their hands, then if they decide to enact some draconian policies or speech policies in order to say that, you can and can't say certain things or you can and can't hold certain views, we will or won't serve you, then you get issues like this. So, National Health Service Trust in the UK, Bristol, has announced that it will deny treatment to patients it deems are racists or sexists. So as we know that these groups always expand every day of what constitutes a racist or a sexist or a racist remark, sexist remark, that kind of thing. And therefore, although it might be, this is fair enough, you don't want the bad people to be propagating, why should we be using our resources on the bad people when it's finite? Well, for a start, ask why it's finite in the first place. Ask if it's really something you should be trying to achieve as a government entity, and no, you really shouldn't. But then, who decides what is racist or sexist? Who decides how severe it has to be? And why do you get to decide it? If it's down to individual companies, then of course they can say, it's these particular people we don't wish to serve, and hopefully the government will get out of the way and say, okay, cool, you don't want to serve that kind of person. That's fine. Here are the guidelines people know. If it's too unclear, then people will move to other platforms. Already happening even in the tech world, even though it's a kind of monopoly, if you will, with someone like YouTube, because we let them get away with it even when Google bought them out. But nonetheless, you have companies like BitChute springing up. And of course, you've got Minds and Gab to rival the other social media platforms, the tech giants. And therefore, you're getting pushback as the guidelines aren't strict enough. So those other platforms are available, even for supporting your favourite content creators, Patreon or Subscribestar, link in description, should you wish to, that there are now other options available, because that is what the free market does, as long as the government doesn't crack down on them, because that's what a big government does. Which is also why monopolies can't exist without the help of the government. But they say the North Bristol NHS Trust said that threatening and offensive language as well. Okay, so threatening and offensive. Threatening, fair enough. Offensive, who decides? As well as racist or sexist language, gestures or behaviour, and malicious allegations would all be punishable offences. Again with this word salad, what does this mean? Patients who commit such an infraction will be subject to a sports-style disciplinary yellow card and then final red card, in which treatment would be withdrawn as soon as is safe. Okay, so in that sense, does that mean it isn't supposed to do anything? Because why are they there if they don't need the treatment anymore? The spokesperson says, "We have staff from many different backgrounds from all over the world, and we pride ourselves on our commitment to equality, which is a fundamental value of the NHS. And by equality, we mean we're going to give you preferential treatment depending on what we think of you." And that was by Andrea Young, Chief Executive for North Bristol NHS Trust, who was sending a strong signal that any racism or discrimination is completely unacceptable. Discrimination is perfectly acceptable. People do it all the time. What you mean is with prejudice. Please be clear. This is why words are important. We want staff to challenge and report it, and we want everyone to know that it will have consequences, she added. If they wish to define it, then that's fine, but of course they don't, because that gives them the wiggle room, and the fact that they're allowed to get away with it is reprehensible behaviour, as far as I'm concerned. And it's these kind of things that make you think, maybe there should really be another option, but how can we afford another option when there's so much bloody tax to fund things that don't work, and therefore we have to use because there isn't an alternative, because you don't let there be one. It's things like that. Jack Montgomery highlights, in late 2017, an NHS patient who requested a female nurse to carry out a cervical smear complained when the hospital sent a person with an obviously male appearance, close cropped hair, a male facial appearance and voice, large number of tattoos and facial stubble, who insisted, "My gender is not male, I'm a transsexual." Patient doesn't get to decide, neither doctor's doctor, unless of course you've got your particular religious affiliations in which you can only be with another woman because you can't have them anywhere near pork. A bit of a low blow, if you will, but hey, I'll take it. So this is the kind of thing we're talking about here, to give but one example. Moreover, foster parents have also had children removed from their care by the state because they were supporters of UKIP and not vehement supporters of multiculturalism. Yes, so again, you have particular views and you go, oh, how about no? Scotland is worse in this regard of taking away children if the state doesn't deem that you're capable. And this isn't just for foster parents, but it's also for biological parents. And by capable, I mean holding the right views for them, in that they can have a named person, like a school teacher, for example, to say, yeah, how about that child shouldn't be with those parents. So state, take them away. Thankfully, they have revoked this policy at least slightly. But again, it's an instance where a Second Amendment would come real handy, because if someone's trying to take away your children, are you really going to let them do that? No, of course not. So, that's the story for today. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think, oh, well, this is acceptable because, hey, they're just trying to do the right thing and make it a more peaceful environment, especially when it's something to do with healthcare, that you need that peaceful environment for the sake of the patients, and you can't have staff coming to work when they're terrified of working? Or do you think, well, no, this isn't for the NHS to decide. We have laws on the books. We don't need it to be specific for the NHS. And even some of these laws we should get rid of, including the NHS. We should also get rid of that and allow people to make their own choices. But, as always, let me know what you think down in the comments below. The government should be making choices for everyone on everything. And, share this video around. As always, the YouTube algorithm will hate I'm using Summit News. So thank you very much, and have a good one.